Hello, everyone. If you've been here before, you probably know that I love superheroes a lot. However, another major interest of mine that I've only gotten to talk a little bit about on this channel is Pokemon. Ever since I received Pokemon X for my 3DS back when it released, I've been playing this franchise, and I've used plenty of Pokemon in my time. So today, just for fun, I'd like to take you through the teams I've used across my Pokemon career. Since I've played through at least part of a game in every region, let's go in regional order. So without further ado, here are all of my Pokemon teams. To start off with the Kanto region, I played Let's Go Eevee. While I don't always nickname my Pokemon, for this game I specifically gave my team all just human names because, well, no reason. I used Evan the starter Eevee, Zachary the Venusaur, Valerie the Ninetales, Kevin the Golduck, Alolan Raichu, which I couldn't nickname because it was traded, and Garrett the Haunter. Eevee because it was the starter and I love Eevee. Venusaur is just a great Pokemon for a Kanto playthrough, and I loved Gengar, but my friend wasn't available to trade, so I never got to evolve my Haunter. I also used a regular Raichu, but got the Alolan version for the Psychic coverage. Then Ninetales and Golduck were some unique Kanto Pokemon that I had never really used before. This is a cool team, and I like giving them all personalities. Next is Johto, the only region that I never finished a playthrough of. I picked up Pokemon Silver for the Virtual Console, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that the Game Boy games are for me. I got past the Lake of Rage, but then kind of felt aimless and didn't really know where to go. However, I'm including this because of one really cool fact. I got a shiny Cyndaquil without even trying. His name is Xavier, and I was able to transport him and the rest of the team I was using to Pokemon Home recently, and I still have fond memories of this team. I also decided to name them all after X-Men characters after my randomly named starter turned out to be special. I guess I took it as a sign that this team would be cool. Therefore, my team was Xavier, Cyclops the Furret, Colossus the Nidorino, Archangel the Skiploom, Iceman the Quagsire, and Deadpool the Sudowoodo. I like all of these Pokemon, or their evolved forms, a lot, whether they are cool, cute, or silly. Would have loved to have Xatu named Phoenix and a Sneasel named Wolverine, but whatever. If they ever make another remake of Johto, preferably one in the style of Let's Go as opposed to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'll get a full Johto playthrough under my belt. Anyway, next is Hoenn, and my second Pokemon game being Omega Ruby. I also still have a lot of this original team, and I think you can tell it was one of my first playthroughs. That team was Sceptile, Breloom, Swellow, Camerupt, Latios, and Junior the Wobbuffet. Yup, I carried the gift Wynot with me throughout my entire playthrough until it hatched during the 8th gym. I also used 2 grass types, but I still love all of these Pokemon. However, the worst part of this team was that I saw Latios could learn 4 HMs, so I accidentally turned a legendary Pokemon into an HM user. Yeah, I have fond memories with them, but I can tell it's not my best team. Next is Sinnoh with my team in Brilliant Diamond. I tried to avoid using basic picks for a Sinnoh playthrough like Luxray, Staraptor, and Floatzel, and I think I did a good job of that. That team was Infernape, Roserade, Golem, Pachirisu, Gastrodon, and Vespiquen. Infernape was kind of always my favorite starter for Sinnoh. Roserade and Gastrodon were Pokemon I had liked but never used before. Pachirisu because I heard stories of it winning world championships, Vespiquen because it's a rare Pokemon not a lot of people use, and Golem because I got a Graveler early on and my friend actually let me trade to evolve it. This was a unique team that I felt pretty attached to despite the flaws present in Brilliant Diamond. It was also my first time planning out a team, and I stuck to that plan pretty well. Like all but Golem were in my original team. Then for Unova, I played Pokemon White. My team for this game was fine. I actually played this game on and off for a long time before actually beating N and Ghetsis. However, I still like it. My team was Samurott, Leavanny, Zebstrika, Swoobat, Crocodile, and Darmanitan. I also used a Stoutland for a good chunk of the playthrough, and Zekrom while fighting the bosses. Samurott was always my favorite because of Oshawott in the anime in terms of starters, and also Duat is pretty cool. I also liked Leavanny and Crocodile due to the anime, and they're just really good Pokemon in general. I had attachment to Darmanitan due to a figure I had of him as a kid. Zebstrika was there just because I think it's neat, and Swoobat I used for a flyer that I thought would be a different choice. It was really annoying to evolve during friendship and not very strong, but it's still a staple. Next is Kalos, my first ever game. I played X version, but sadly lost my original cartridge and ended up getting Pokemon Y and playing through it with almost the exact same team. just swapping it out the box art legendary. My team was Chestnut, Squirts the Blastoise, Talonflame, Espeon, Lucario, and Xerneas or Yveltal. Chespin was my favorite of the starters, and I still liked its evolved forms. Since I wanted a water type, I chose Blastoise, and I still can't decide if I like Blastoise or Venusaurs more in terms of Kanto starters. The others were just kind of Pokemon I expect most people to come upon along their playthroughs, plus Espeon since I liked Eevee and didn't know how to get any of the evolutions, so it kind of just evolved as I was playing one day. Still, this team was my first and it holds a special place in my heart, and it's kind of why I like Kalos in general, despite the games kind of being the black sheep of the franchise. We're going to save Legend ZA for the end of the video because it's the newest game, so next we're going to Alola with Pokemon Moon. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Alola as much as other people do. I just didn't really get into Z moves or the trial system. Plus, I found a lot of the Ultra Beast stuff weird and to be clashing with the whole, traditional island theme. However, looking back, this generation has some amazing Pokemon, and I still like the team I came up with. Said team was Decidueye, Alolan Marowak, Vikavolt, Slowbro, Ribombee, and Midnight Lycanroc. While I have a soft spot for Primarima, Decidueye is kind of the coolest Alola starter. Alolan Marowak was my initial favorite Alolan form before that was surpassed by Raichu. I loved Rockruff, Vikavolt was just pretty cool, and Ribombee was brought on both to help against Totokamao and because the rest of the team was so gosh darn slow. Because of this, Ribombee is still one of my favorite Pokemon overall. Also, Slowbro, because Slowbro existed. I don't know, he's just a goofy little guy. Next is Shield, which is it controversial to say that I enjoyed Shield a bit more than I enjoyed Moon? Whatever. The first generation on Switch was always a bit controversial, but I still liked it. This was also the first game I completed the Pokedex in, at least for the base game. Anyway, my team was DK the Rillaboom, Shadowwing the Corviknight, Bolt the Boltund, Octopunch the Grapploct, Dimmadome the Galarian Weezing, and Lumiere the Chandelure. Grookey was my favorite starter since its reveal, Weezing just looked funny, Corviknight and Grapploct looked cool, Boltund was a good boy that I could reference a Disney movie with, and I caught Chandelure in the Fire-type gym, and it ended up being really good. Now for a quick detour to Hisui in Legends Arceus, where I kind of just went in without planning. I let myself use Sinnoh staples, multiple starters, and new forms. I also got attached to this team because of all the life or death scenarios you go through in this game. That and the fact that I could throw out all of my Pokemon at once during any given moment, and they're all pretty cool Pokemon to boot. My team was Charles the Hisuian Typhlosion, named in tribute to Xavier, Luxray, Floatzel, Kleavor, Toxicroak, and Mine Turtle the Torterra. Just a solid squad of Pokemon all around that I hadn't used too much before. And Kleavor was a cool new form, so there's that too. Pokemon Scarlet. This game has plenty of problems in how it runs, but the open world is decent and I love each of the plots you go on. Plus there are some neat characters. But anyway, here's my team. Quaquaval, Annihilape, Clodsire, Satitan, Magnezone, and Volcarona. I love ducks, so I picked Quaxley as a starter, and I love the Wooper line, so I used Clodsire. Annihilape was just a cool concept. I was able to catch Larvesta pretty early on, and I had always wanted to use Volcarona, and Magnezone was way easier to get since it's a stone evolution in this game, and I ended up loving it. I don't exactly remember why I got Satitan on the team, but he was cool. And finally, my team in the newest game at this point in time, Legends ZA. I have loved this game, the amazing characters both old and new, the new lore and seeing what has happened in Kalos since the events of X and Y, the far better implementation of Mega Evolution, the setting, basically everything. And yes, I do not mind the graphics. I just love being back in my home region, but anyway, here is my team. Chomps the Feraligatr, Rook the Chestnut, Maxie the Camerupt, Slippery the Electros, Princess the Alpha Clefable, and the savior of many people's playthroughs, Boys the Heracross. I love Boys or Bois or whatever you call him, like everyone does, but honestly I kinda wish he wasn't a story-required trade because it feels like since everyone has their own story with Boys, I don't really have such a special connection with him. Still, he was a ridiculously powerful member of the team. While I knew I had to use my first starter Chestnut in a new Kalos game, I didn't know which of the game's actual starters I would pick because I don't particularly love any of them. However, Chomps is really cool with Ice Fang and Liquidation plus a new Mega Evolution, so I think I'm a Feraligatr fan now. I picked Camerupt as a fire and ground type because I like him, and I named him after the Team Magma leader, while my friends named his Sharpedo after Archie, and that was fun. I also love his Mega. I've never really paid attention to Electros before, but I grew attached to Slippery since he was always kind of the baby of the group. Most of my team was evolved when I added Tynamo, and he was always kind of a few levels behind. Still, I'm proud of him, and he was a fun addition. And finally, I caught Princess in Wild Zone 19 and swapped it in for Absol because I wasn't really using Absol a lot. I liked the Clefable line for a while now, but this was my first time actually using it in a playthrough, and it was pretty cool. I loved using all of these Pokemon and their Mega Forms. I wish you could throw out all of your Pokemon at once like an Arceus, but I still got attached to them, and honestly I can't wait for the next Legends game. Or, Generation 10 would be cool as well, I guess. Anyway, those are all of my Pokemon teams so far. Thank you for taking this trip down memory lane with me, and let me know if you'd like to see more Pokemon videos in the future. Until then, like the video, subscribe if you feel like it, and comment some of your favorite Pokemon teams down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.